Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another rip-roaring episode of Huell's Gold. It's episode 32, right?
32. This is for you.
So what did you think about this episode, like, as a whole?
So, there was a trade-off between funny, jokey time,
Yeah.
and pure just historical uncovering, whatever.
Well, it seemed like he really wanted to take this this subject seriously.
And as we will see, he takes it a bit more seriously by wearing a subtle article of clothing.
Yeah. So, the theme this week, not very surprisingly, was mariachi style.
No. Was it?
Yeah.
Whose jams are we listening to?
Oh, you don't want to say the name?
It's a question to you.
The Mariachi Nuevo Uclatlan.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Of course. I will say, this is by far the most ethnic rendition.
Yeah.
Of
Well,
the theme
because
song.
we've had like marching bands, choirs, and folk groups almost.
And we had big sax.
Of the nuclear whale
what do you
band.
call it? The jumbo sax?
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's a funny name.
That was one of the best ones, though. Either way, Huell starts it off on Olvera Street, and he says that this is literally the birthplace of Los Angeles.
I'm not going to say I knew that. Did you know that?
No, but I think it's because of the mission and all that.
I can see that, yeah.
I don't think Los Angeles, the city, is necessarily anything like what the missionaries had in mind. But you can thank William Mulholland for
cities are living, breathing things.
That's for sure.
I did notice. I was hoping for some great, bits of clothing on people in this group, and there is absolutely nothing.
No, it's a pretty timeless look that everyone's got here. I mean, it's just like pretty
some funny
solid.
stripes.
Yeah, not even.
They're not just normal.
Like if you saw that shirt at the mall today, would you think it was weird?
No.
It's a pretty timeless crowd we got here, but Huell's rocking his denim shirt. He's got it rolled up to 3/4 sleeve, and then we're off. We're right into the meat of the episode.
Yep.
And here we go. Huell, hit it.
It's known as the music of the people, and supposedly it started in the state of Jalisco in the west central part of Mexico back in the mid-1800s. I say supposedly because, like everything else these days, there seems to be some controversy about exactly where and when mariachi started.
All right, so we're right off to the history class.
Just literally to an academic.
Yeah. So we're starting off with Dr. Steve Loza, who is with the UCLA Department of Musicology back in 93 when this is going on.
And is he still there?
Sure seems like it.
Yeah, he is 66 years old. And we want to, from Huell's Gold, say, Steve, happy belated birthday. We're 2 days behind. Well, technically 3.
Yeah.
This will be Sunday. But, so happy belated birthday.
Yeah, he's probably celebrating by researching this music because he's still in the game. He's actually written 2 books about it. Barrio Rhythm, Mexican-American Music in L.A., and a biography of Tito Puente and the Making of Latin Music.
Wow. And I know his qualifications. I mean, he's qualified to do this.
It's rock solid.
Rock solid. Undergrad from Cal Poly Pomona in music. M.A., Latin American Studies from UCLA, also known as UCLA. And a Ph.D. in ethnomusicology from UCLA.
And did you see that he's also a screener for the Grammys?
I didn't see that.
They don't mess around, right?
I don't think so. Way to go, Steve.
Do you think he's given the nod to Childish Gambino this year? Oh, that's probably not his world.
Maybe, who knows?
Either way, he gets his whole history lesson is all about the nomenclature.
Right. And I think, it's one of these funny things where no matter how close the genre is to the present, well, that's Okay, I'm sure it is. If it happened yesterday, we'd be able to identify it. But like, think about hip hop and punk music. Is there a definite starting point? I mean, he's talking about the word, but he's almost talking about the genre.
Yeah,
at the same time.
I was thinking about that. Hip hop, yes, like it's a pretty definitive, like the street corners in Brooklyn, like.
Right, but yeah, okay.
But I think when you get into other things other than that, like punk, it was happening simultaneously in multiple places. And you got to wonder why. And that's where people studying it have gone, and it seems like that's what Oloza's doing.
It's interesting because at what point does a genre become a distinct on its own? So when does stubble become a beard? So, no, it's interesting though.
Well, with most things like this, when you're studying it, you can't really realize the moment until after it's happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who knew what punk was until it was already, a caricature of itself, and you realize, like, oh, that was it. Oh, it's done. But as far as the name goes, he gives a couple stories as to the name mariachi and where it came from. He says that the French origin is wrong, just flat out.
Just one thing for sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a French origin.
Which, that came from mariage, he said, which is marriage in French, and that's no good.
Right. Would this be the music played at weddings? Right?
I assume so.
Because this was the French occupation.
Yeah, 1861 to 67, and that's when a lot of Frenchy words got shlamied in with Spanish in Mexico, I guess. But he was given credit partially to the Coca Indians, which he didn't say how or why, but that was what he wanted to say.
Part of their language, or. But
he also said it could have come from the name Maria, which also makes sense. I mean, it's right there. But then it would be Mariachi.
Well, let's just see what Huell has to say about this.
Sure.
Well, I'm not sure we settled that controversy about exactly where or when mariachi music started. But one thing's for sure. Over the years, it's become more and more popular and spread all over the world, thanks to radio and records and movies. Movies from the golden age of Mexican cinema back in the 30s and 40s. Movies starring famous mariachi singers like Pedro Infante and Jorge Negrete.
Soy el charro mexicano, noble, valiente y leal, de su pueblo siempre hermano. Soy el charro que se llena todo el alma con amor, el de la Virgen Morena de su patria y de su
So he didn't seem to be very happy with the conclusions.
Yeah, not sure we actually just reached one. And that it wasn't French, but
good enough. But we're switching gears. We're with Dr. Stephen Perlman, who we've already seen once.
Is this like a Stephen club that's
right?
going on?
It's funny that the first guy was Steve, and then they differentiated Steven. Both with the V variation, though.
Yeah.
But he's with the University of Redlands, your I was going to say hometown, not even close.
Lived there for 9 months. Not about a year.
So, as long as you were in the womb, you were in Redlands.
Yep.
He's getting more he's like breaking down the music itself. Like the sounds, the instruments, the real nuts and bolts of it. Now, he starts off doing this, and it's cool because you would think like, oh, this is good music talk and everything. But I got distracted pretty early. I don't know if you noticed.
What's that?
The little boys in the background?
No.
Okay, so there's two young boys who kind of like come up and they start asking, they're gesturing like, what the heck is this? What's going on? And one of the band members behind him is doing like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He's kind of like, he does a motion of a camera and a microphone, and they're just like, huh, but like, why? Kind of looks, and he's just like, I don't know, kid, scram. Tell him to get out of the way. But did you think that old Perlman knew what he was talking about?
I mean, could have fooled me if he doesn't.
Yeah. If you notice,
fool me.
We're not going into great depth as to Perlman's current whereabouts because
he's a ghost.
He's ghosted us. I tried to find him.
He's literally couldn't find information.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't really know. Because Google's really into a Dr. Stephen Perlman, New York cosmetologist.
Yeah, that's all I could find too.
So
I did see that there was at the University of Redlands, they have their, what do you call this, orchestra thing. And there was a young woman with the last name Perlman. So maybe she's related, the clarinet player.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember right, but maybe not.
So Huell and Dr. Stephen Perlman, really break down the instrumentation. But before that, Huell says probably... Huell definitely is our everyman representative. Like, he's the guy who goes in these situations and says the thing that kind of ignorant white person might say, or at least think. What's the yelling for?
Although I will be honest, I don't know if that's even just a white person thing, because it is a very distinct, what do you call a call?
Gritos. That's what it's called. that's what Steven tells him, and
listen, because I say this because I have Jalisco blood running through my veins.
Yeah. He kind of gets the ball rolling on one of these contests to see who can do it the best. I thought the guitar player did it the best.
Yes.
Well,
who was well, here, let's check it out.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Most definitely guitar player. Like, that's when I'm at this is very different, because I was thinking about where have I heard mariachi the most?
Mm-hmm.
In some guy's car next to me at a stoplight.
Yeah.
But that is the most classic gritos, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's my favorite.
So we're calling him a guitar player, but I know now, because of the next little piece of the segment, what all the instruments are called.
Well, do you see my descriptions of... Because I don't... He's speaking in Spanish, so...
I just looked it up on Google. I phonetically
definitely
typed it in.
didn't do that.
Yeah, I did it.
I put big/chubby guitar, tiny guitar,
yeah,
trumpets and violins. So,
well, trumpets and violins you got right, but the little guitar-like instrument, the 5-stringer, is the vihuela, and he said it's like the guitar, but it's tuned in reverse, which is interesting. It's almost who was that? The guitar player for that pop-punk band, the Ataris.
Uh-huh.
He was left-handed, and he learned to play guitar upside down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Little tidbit.
Yeah.
The big one, what'd you call it? The fat and chubby?
I called it I don't know if I called it fat. I called it a big chubby guitar.
Big chubby. The guitarón, which is the bass guitar.
Yeah.
Your world.
Right.
But Huell called it very thick. Steve said the trumpets are the late edition. They came in the 1920s and 30s. Before that, there were like harps.
Yeah. Which, I mean, later we'll actually get to see harps, which is cool. But
and then the violins have always been there. But I noticed that when the because he had each instrument do his little thing, they don't... Okay.
Let's just go. I want to hear this, yeah. Because I think I had the same thought.
When Steve asked them to do their demonstration, he came up and said a song title. And then they would kind of mouth to each other what the first kind of little melody was. You just say, and then they would start it. And it's like, oh, they play music like I do, just by like hearing and feeling. Like this stuff isn't written down.
No, well, because the first that he blows to the trumpet kind of doesn't sound that great. And then they look at each other, and it's like, I don't think they know how to play it.
It's totally boofed first time off.
It was awesome.
But after this, we are changing gears a bit because Huell seems to find, I'm going to guess, probably his favorite restaurant on Olvera Street, the owner of that restaurant. Her name was...
Vivian Bonzo.
That's right. And she owns the La Colondria Cafe, which she still owns today.
Yep. And she took over that. So the property's been in her family for 88 years.
Mm-hmm.
She took it over in 1980. And apparently, it's a well-known thing that, or well-known folklore, or whatever you want to call it, that the restaurant is haunted by La Consuela.
Oh.
Yeah. And so a lot of paranormal, whatever, searchers, whatever you want to call them,
Mm-hmm.
they apparently it's been haunting the staff for years.
A lot of coast-to-coast listeners, is what
Yes.
you're saying. Okay.
West of the Rockies, yeah.
So, I get that. If I knew that number, you'd know I was deep.
Yeah.
If I knew the West of the Rockies number. So, I didn't ask you this at the beginning, but have you ever been to Olvera Street?
No.
Me neither. And I've had a number of opportunities. I got friends who live in LA, and they offer that as a place to go. Like, oh, we're going to get lunch. Where do you want to go? Like, oh, we'll go there. And it always gets vetoed.
Mm.
I don't know why. I assume...
Is it crowded, or is it hard
It
to
doesn't
find
look so
parking?
now, but I think it's got to be. Like everything.
Yeah.
Like even the Grand Central Market that we saw, 20 episodes ago.
Just slammed.
Is so crowded now. So most of those kinds of places that have become a little bit more visible to the general public, they're hard to get into. I think we need to go here though.
Yeah, for sure.
But once he's talking to Vivian, she's kind of given the description of how the mariachis are used in her restaurant, which is a bit different. And Huell kind of grinds on her about this. Like, yeah, but you only got 3 guys playing guitar. And it's true. Like, that's a trio. And she explains that. But she also gives a little glimpse into the fact that mariachis are just one of a number of, Mexican-styled music. And a lot of people just consider it all to be one thing. And because the instruments are pretty similar in most of these styles, like, same deal. Someone who comes from Asia comes here and they just think that anything that's, I guess I'm talking more like 90s era, anything on the radio, that's rock and roll. But then, we know, oh no, that's grunge.
Or, for
That's
example,
college rock.
and I don't want to keep bringing it back to this, but punk music, okay?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what you know.
That's what I know.
I know nothing. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, shut up. There are so many different forms of it. But my brother, God love him,
Someone's got to.
but he has always referred to me as a punker.
Yeah.
And that's as deep as he gets into it. Or a straight edger.
You do punk.
Straight edger? Yes. Okay, sounds good. So anyway, but I know exactly what you mean. It's hard to make a differentiation, even though it's a complex genre.
One of my friends, Andrew, I've talked about him before, he works in the oil industry, as many people in this town do. And he got a history or a music lesson on the different styles from his coworker that he was with all day, every day.
Of local music or?
No. Of Mexican music.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
And he finally understood it all. He could just tell. He hears a song. He's like, oh, that's got an accordion and a stand-up bass. That's a norteño style. That's whatever. And he then told me, but without the audio references, totally. didn't get it. Like, I mean, I understood it, but I wish that
Andrew's quite the music connoisseur as well.
Well, he thinks so.
Yeah.
No. Just kidding. He listens. I'm joking. But we get a little glimpse of the norteño style, which has the accordion, which I always like that style. It sounds wild.
Yeah. It's a party all the time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the mariachi seems more traditional. It's still got the high brass, timbre to it, but that accordion, it makes it fun.
I mean, yeah, I grew up, you know where I grew up?
Oh, yeah.
In the Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
You would hear this kind of music 3 or 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
I still didn't know anything about it. It just sort of, So it's cool to see the difference between it.
Well, I've noticed that with music a lot of times, because there is such compartmentalization of it, like, it's hard to really get your feet wet in it. So, like, a lot of times people say, like, oh, I want to get into this or that. And it's easy to just, like, take the best well-known things. Mm-hmm. But say, like, something that I would equate it to is, oh, I want to get into jazz. Where do I start? Wow.
It's like, well, you just show me what you like, and then I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
Break it up.
Because, someone says, I want to get into hip-hop. Even that's hard, but you could still, like, just pretty much show them some of the biggest names, and they're going to get it.
Or if someone tells you, I'm really wanting to get into indie, what do you think?
Yeah.
Like, alternative rock.
Yeah. It's like...
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this episode is cool, because Huell's not just, like, straight up yucking it up with everyone. Like, he seemed like he legitimately wanted to know the breakdown of everything.
Right.
And this is an educational show.
It's good.
Yeah. But Vivian is taking Huell out of Olvera Street. We're heading
to the corner of 1st and Boyle.
Yeah, let's hear why we're there.
Now, Vivian has brought us over here to the corner of 1st and Boyle Street in East LA, because this is kind of the place on a Saturday afternoon especially where things kind of happen as far as mariachis are concerned.
That's right. Everybody's out looking for a job, looking to perform and make somebody's night a happy one.
So what's the deal here? The mariachi groups come over here and just kind of wait?
They assemble. This is very much like Plaza Garibaldi in Mexico City, where it's a tradition there that mariachis will all accumulate in a certain part of town. Everybody knows where that is. And here in Los Angeles, this is the place if you want to come and pick up a mariachi band.
Mm-hmm. For any kind of event.
A party, a wedding, whatever you want. Just a little good music to go along.
So, do you wheel and deal? Is that the...
You're going to negotiate. That's right, absolutely.
Well, let's start negotiating and see what we can come up with.
See who's out here tonight.
Yeah.
So we're wheeling and dealing.
Well, maybe. Or we're just negotiating.
Yeah. So yeah, Huell and Vivian are at 1st and Boyle Street, which I looked up a little bit of it. It was just kind of this street corner, and there was some affordable housing that they were trying to get in, and everything. What do you got?
You notice this kid right here on the mountain bike?
Oh, yeah.
Or he's going to appear a lot. So let's just keep an eye out for him.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just this street corner where all these bands hang out and hope to get hired.
The economics of this situation is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a lot of uncertainty. You can't audition the person.
That was very interesting.
And there's no apparent reputation this works on. That you can tell, at least from Huell's questioning.
You got to wonder, like, is this self-regulated? Like, do the bands say, like, oh, you're ripping people off, get out of here. Like, you're giving a bad name?
So I would have thought there would have been something like...
Oh, the kid just showed back up. He's even popping his head around everyone
he just wants to be in the show.
Hamming it big time.
So, yeah, I mean, this is one of the things. Like, when you go into a movie, it's one of the few things you pay for before you even get to see the product.
Yeah.
We don't do that with a lot. I mean, you could ask for your money back if you're really
But
upset.
even then, we get trailers.
That's true. That's true. So I wonder, is there some sort of rudimentary Yelp system going on here?
Well, I don't know if this exact location still works the same way.
Okay.
I know my friend Adam was driving me around to L.A. because he lives in Boyle Heights, and he said that there's a Mariachi Plaza. And have you been there? I said no. And it's same deal, where it's a place where bands hang out to get hired for parties and whatnot.
See,
I don't know if this is the same thing, just moved or what.
Like, I don't know. I mean, they're dressed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think you could just kind of strum your instrument to show that you could even play. It's something small, but I guess if everyone was doing that, because there's a ton of people.
Be a
ton of groups out
cacophony.
there. Yeah, it might be cool, though.
Yeah.
So I just want to rewind for a second.
Yeah.
When we get the shot of Huell walking across the street
Mm-hmm.
and that kid blazing by us on the mountain bike,
Yeah.
do you notice the Explorers in the background?
Yeah.
Is this, tell me if my eyes are deceiving me, but is it dented in the front? I know it's hard to tell because it's not great quality.
I don't think so. I think it looks like just the way that the fender is shaped, maybe.
Yeah.
But also, tell me this. If you got a new car every year for free, would you be slamming it into stuff?
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
Also, Huell's parked in a red zone.
I didn't even notice that.
He has no cares about this car. It's like, oh, just stop it. Just put it away.
Sounds good.
So Vivian has to become translator because Huell goes up and just shoves microphones in people's faces.
Before we get there, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We see the subtle
there it is.
signaling that Huell gives of his solidarity with
The culture.
mariachi music and culture.
The belt.
The belt. The tiny,
Yeah.
tiny leather, colorful belt on.
He's had this before, but do you think the episode that we were mentioning this like 3-4 episodes ago was taped before? Because this is all mishmash. It's not in
Right.
order. That he bought this on Olvera Street earlier in the afternoon. He's like, oh, this'll work. This'll get me a good band.
I was hoping he already owned it, and he went to his closet, and then we get to see like a camera angle, and he just just the one belt hanging there.
Either way, it's good on Huell.
I like it.
But he shoves the microphone in all these guys' faces like, English? You speak English? Which is a little insulting, but turns out
They don't.
none of them do. So Vivian has to translate, and that's when we learn about the no audition thing.
Yeah, and like I said, it's an interesting way to go about it. But we see a guy who navigates it, right? Because Huell's just confused. What are we doing
Oh,
here?
the guy in the car, yeah.
The guy in the car. He takes cards from everybody, compares the prices, and then negotiates with the whole group. If that isn't instant competition, I don't know
Very true.
what is.
But then you got to think, if you're just trying to get your lowest common denominator there, are you really getting the best band?
That's true. That's true. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And how much time are you going to spend trying to figure out?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a cost to that too.
So this idea of the best band, this is definitely something that so far we're hearing, I don't want to call them amateurs, but these aren't, recording artist level tip-top bands.
Right.
We're hearing like the street level bands. And then we get to hear what really solid, holy cow mariachi
the
music.
shredders.
Yeah. Because we're
Mariachi.
changing pace again. We're going to Garfield High School in East LA. And we actually start off with a school band. So equally kind of amateur-ish I'm going to use that in the Olympic term. Amateur versus professional. Like, they're not getting paid to do this, even though our homies on First and Boyle are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have sponsors. And that's the El Mariachi Los Alanos. Your
Just
band.
my name, yeah. That's my band.
So I translated that word. Do you know what
What do you
Google
got?
said?
No.
Which Google's, It's right some of the time. It translated it to mastiff.
Mastiff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not very partial to that breed of dog because one of them got loose and killed one of my cats when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
So forget a mastiff. Forget this band. Just kidding.
I don't know if they're around anymore.
Did you look it up?
I did a quick search, but I couldn't find much on them. But I did see that David Kilpatrick, who was the leader of that band.
Mm-hmm. They don't give him a title.
Yeah, they don't give him a title. But that guy is still around. Actually, KCET did a little, not little, it was a normal-sized length article on him. He's still playing. He started in 1964, still at it. But the guy has the whitest hair ever.
I found his Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And all of his videos that he has posted, because, it's locked up like most people's Facebooks. I'm not friends with him. So it's just kind of like articles that or videos or whatever that he links. It's all still kids playing music. Like he
has a heart for it.
Yep, he's in the game.
That's cool.
But what's cool about this event that Huell goes to at the high school is that it's kind of like a showcase, a recital type of a thing for the school's band, but they get a special performance by Los Camperos, which as soon as they come on, oof,
dude, they're the best.
That's pro.
Well, before we get to that too, like actually talking about them, what I liked about this, you notice how cross-cultural this is. I mean, Huell's interviewed almost as many Caucasians as he has actual,
Mexican American, the musicians and everything. Yeah,
yeah. So that's what I thought was cool. Mm-hmm. Is they're not what do you want to call them? Haters, or they're not afraid of outsiders playing the music as well, or at least preserving the culture.
Yeah,
which is cool. I thought it was cool.
No one's drinking haterade is what you're saying.
Basically.
Okay.
Yes.
So one little tidbit about this high school is there's a quick shot of it that precedes the band section of the clit or the segment. And the front of the high school has a couple trees, and they happen to be blooming jacaranda trees, which is the first time I've seen this tree on California's Gold. Definitely won't be the last time we see it.
Well, it'll be the last time you see it without tears in your eyes.
Right. That's a spoiler alert for 6 years from now. Either way, we get inside the high school, the bands, the dancing, it's all going. Then the pros get up. I mean, they're wearing these leather suits, and they
make Brown look good.
God, they're shredding, man. It's so good. And then we meet Naticano,
which is Natividad. Just
yeah.
short for that, but I like it. Which you said he was the founder of the band. So I was reading about the Getty. I think it was they had an installation of this, but when they were describing it, they were talking about, or at least they were, giving you a historical background, and Nati's goal was to take mariachi. Sorry. Take mariachi beyond cantinas and into the concert halls. That was his ultimate goal.
Okay. Well,
and he did it.
It certainly seems like it.
Well, because they're performing. They just performed in, I think it was in Riverside a few months ago.
Oh, still going strong? Yeah. Is he still with the band?
I don't know. I have to look it up. It looked like he was. There was an older guy that was still fronting it. So,
yeah. Well, after we get the concert, a pretty cool experience for these kids. They go into the band room, it looks like, right? Of the high school. And the students get to learn from this world-renowned band. I mean, come on. You can't get better than that.
No.
That's like, what would you say? Highland High School marching band getting to learn with the Bakersfield Symphony Orchestra.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Maybe they could use the help. Either way, this is pretty straightforward interviews, right?
Yeah, there's something just worth watching.
Yeah, no frills with it, except for those two girls.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch anything about them? Like, did that kind of give you a flashback of high school days? Because I don't know about you, but these girls talk in this specific way that girls in high school of our era. I'm a little older than you, so I don't know if it was exactly the same, but
no, it's definitely similar.
Yeah, saying things like "I barely started playing," stuff like that. Like, it was, you could tell that she was very nervous to be doing this interview. And
I thought that was fine. I didn't even like the stuff, to be honest.
Yeah. So, do you like this kind of music? No. Right off the bat, in her full regalia too. But then she said at the end, but then I started learning about it. It's my life now.
So, okay.
I wish we got her name so we could see like if she really followed through with it.
Right.
My vote is yes.
Okay. Well, I want to believe that. So
because even if maybe she's not playing full time now or anything, it seems like kids in high school, if they like go full into something that maybe isn't the coolest, it kind of like it transcends just peripherally liking something. Like,
so do you think like
it changes the kid?
Thespians.
Oh, you mean drama kids?
Yes.
I have.
Is that hit and miss?
No. Well, I have firsthand experience that seems to be a certain divergence within the drama high school ranks post high school days. There are those who continue down that road in that they want to like be in entertainment maybe, or always kind of be the life of the show, or it just allows them to have that sort of openness to art and theater specifically.
Okay.
I would tend to want to associate with the latter of those two. They seem to be a bit more subdued and not seeking of attention as much.
That's true.
So, did you play in high school bands or anything like that?
I played band in middle school.
What was your instrument?
Tenor drum.
What?
It's the between bass, the big bass drum and snare.
And you just had the one?
Yeah.
Like strapped on your chest?
Yeah, it wasn't like a quad or anything. Those are the shredders.
That's like a drum line. Those.
Yeah. No, I literally in the cadence, I played the beat between the bass and the snare. Like it's the most middle of the road instrument. And that's why I got put on bass.
Did you
like
march?
Bass guitar. Yeah.
Dang, in like the Christmas parade?
I don't think the Christmas parade. So I ended up dropping out because the guy wasn't the greatest band teacher ever, and he told me that I would never be great. Basically.
Like how many kids in school bands
like in sixth grade, right? Like, yeah.
It's stupid.
So anyways, bummed me out on drumming. Mom went and talked to the guy. It was a whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I ended up not doing band anymore, and then I became the mascot.
Oh, no. How did I not know this?
I'm in the yearbook. I'll show it to you.
Dude.
Yeah.
You got it at your house?
Yeah.
Shoot.
I was a shark. And it was in the parade, and I throw candy to people.
Did you do like cartwheels and stuff?
No, it was pretty tight. Like the mom who made the outfit, a little tight on the legs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little short.
Dude. What school was this?
Walter Stern Middle School.
The Walter Stern Sharks?
Yeah.
All right. I learn something new every day. Today, I thought it was going to be all about mariachi music, but no, Alan was a mascot.
And then in high school, I was encouraged by a government teacher. He's like, well, you were a mascot before. You realize you get full ride scholarships being a male cheerleader or a mascot.
Dude, you would have had a whole different life.
Think about my life in like Nebraska State or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State University.
Mm-hmm.
Cheerleader. Gosh. So, anyway.
You wouldn't have snapped your knee playing soccer, that's for sure. Yeah. So, I did nothing of the sort.
Okay.
No band, no drama, no choir, no nothing.
I'm surprised you didn't do band. What was it about? Did you not like organized?
No, it's just straight up not ever really. I don't think anyone ever asked me. I did quit my piano lessons in 2nd grade. So maybe my mom's like, oh, music's not his thing.
Do you kick yourself now?
Kinda, but I don't think... For one, the piano that we had at home was out of tune, so it always sounded bad. I think that was the problem. But, yeah, I don't know. I was never an extracurricular type.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I did sign up to be in drama my sophomore year of high school, and I went to one day, and I went directly from that class to the counselor's office, and I got that changed to ceramics.
See, we had our optional courses were like home economics. And
then junior high?
I did middle school, yeah.
Yeah, I did 2 years of home ec too.
Okay, and then we had...
I can sew so well.
See, I can't.
Have you had a sewing machine
to me,
right here?
Cooking omelets was the coolest bit of that course.
We sewed so much.
No,
the cooking was minimal.
Well, then there was another course where we would build like mini rockets, and then Stern was the cool school back then because we even had our own morning show ran by 6th and 7th and 8th graders.
No way.
Yeah.
Gosh, I went to Olvera. We didn't even have a mascot.
All that money ran out already.
Right. So these kids seem pretty lucky in that they have this super into it. I'm going to call him just the music teacher, David Kilpatrick, who you were talking about earlier. Also, one of the other things that I saw is that he got his master's degree in ethnomusicology on a Fulbright scholarship. He went to Greece.
Oh, okay.
Which makes no sense if you really think about it, because why did he go to Greece when he was studying Latin American music? But probably just, I get this cool scholarship and they're going to pay for me to live in Greece? Cool. Sign me up. Yeah. So as far as the show goes, the visuals, it just ends with this big group song that everyone plays. And that's going to be our outro music this week.
It was a cool transition.
Yeah.
So, kind of bled into the outro.
But the kid who really stole my heart was the one in the Chicago Bulls shirt. Forefront, right in the shot the whole time. And is definitely like the super 90s era. They've started remaking these shirts. One of my friends was buying these. You know, it's like a illustrated version of a basketball player, but with like a big head.
Mm-hmm.
It was that kind of a shirt. So it looked like. But the episode doesn't end with the music.
No, he comes back in and does his...
Why do you think he did that?
I don't know.
He, had to do his goodbye everybody's post-music. He's never done this before.
Yeah, and it's... I don't know. Maybe he just felt like he had to.
He just stuck so steadfastly to the structure of the show as he saw it at this point, which, years from now, all bets are off.
He's freewheeling.
No joke. What did Louis have anything to say about this episode in his book?
Just the way that Huell said mariachi.
Yeah.
Which anyone that doesn't come from a Latin-based language would probably...
The way he spelled it in the book, though.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
MARY-ACHI. Mariachi.
Merry Christmas-achi.
He just says that they enjoyed it. That's about it. And he loved the way Huell said that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode.
So, as we said, very historic, kind of by the books episode. Next week,
we are going to what the cool kids call the city.
Yep.
San Francisco. And we are going to go to, this episode itself is Louis' favorite California's Gold shoot. Because I don't know if this is the reason why, it's the most technically challenging and rewarding.
That seemed to be what he was into most.
Yeah, I could see that.
We're heading to the Golden Gate Bridge.
The GGB.
Yep. This is probably one of the most famous episodes of the entire series.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Huell gets to do some very unique, once-in-a-lifetime things. He references this episode numerous times throughout the years in his show as like that's the bar that is set. It's going to be a big one. I got some personal stuff with the bridge. We'll get into it next week. Just whetting the appetite.
Nice. All right.
If that piques your interest, come along with us next week. In fact, come along with us every week as we continue our search for Huell's Gold.
De domingo a domingo te vengo a ver. Cuando será domingo, siento lindo para volver. Ay, 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 ay. Yo bien quisiera que todas las semanas siento lindo. Ay, 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 ay. Yo a las morenas quiero. Y yo a las buenas. Desde que supe que mueren en la Virgen de Guadalupe, ay, 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 ay. Es bien sabido que la amor de morena nunca extinguido, ay, 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 ay. ¡Ahora, muchachos! ¡Hagan llorar a sus violines! Saca tu montaquito, celito lindo, velo sacando. Que si tú tienes miedo, celito lindo, yo estoy andando. Saca tu montaquito, celito lindo, velo sacando. Que si tú tienes miedo, celito lindo, yo estoy andando. Ajá, 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 que risa